Howdy, BeefaloBart here, and in this video I would like to talk about a video game project and what it is, what I want to do with it, and what help that I need with it, and how I plan for it to be profitable for me and for any sponsors that come on board with it. Now, keep in mind, the map that I'm on right now is not a representation of the actual game. This is just a little small world that I threw together and just was testing out some AI scripting for basic movement, and I've been screwing around with some lighting and other things on it. So keep in mind, this is not a representation of the actual game itself. This is just where I'm testing things, and we'll be doing other testing. Now, the core concept of the game itself is, I'm not a third person kind of person. Yeah, this is not my personal preference. I'm exploring this in both third person and first person, but the natural core of the game itself is going to be about social interaction, and the main core being that the world itself will be broken up into specific islands, and instead of being surrounded by a wall like this, the actual region you would be in would be a small island, and each island is going to have its own population base, and it's all centered around player interactions and player social abilities. It's going to be PvE and PvP, whereas a PvE player, if you do not wish to engage in player versus player combat, there will be enough content to get you from your introduction to the end game and thrive without ever engaging in player versus player combat. However, on the other side, a lot of people are going to want player versus player, so there will be plenty of places and opportunities to engage in player versus player combat. Things you'll be able to do is person-to-person player interaction. You'll be able to interact with other players in the form of trades, commerce, not just combat modes only. So you're encouraged to actually interact with other players around the game. Playing around with the idea of a player-hosted auction system and a game-hosted auction system. Stores, storefronts, restaurants, merchandising, things of that nature, and not just in-game merchandise as well. For example, if you're trying to set up your apartment in the game, you will be given a basic living accommodation, which will be a small slum. You'll be able to rent an apartment in-game using your in-game currencies, and each apartment will have its own player capacity and residence and so forth. We'll cover all that as things evolve onto it. But if you want to furnish your items, for example, if you're a furniture manufacturer and you would like to jump on board with some sponsorship, your furniture items, and we're going to use fictional names for anything right now because we don't currently have any sponsors going. Say if you're BeefaloBart, furniture manufacturer, and you make sofas, tables, chairs, lamps, whatever, your product line will be 3D modeled and available to purchase in the game. So players furnishing their apartment can say, oh man, these BeefaloBart chairs look pretty cool. I'd love to have that for my office chair or my dining room, or I'd love to have that sofa or that table or that desk lamp or whatever. Not only can you purchase it in the game itself and furnish your apartment in the game, there will be a reference link inside the game where you can actually buy that real product using real currency, naturally, and have it shipped to your home and actually buy the stuff you see in the video game itself. So if you want this table, you can buy this table in the game and put it in your apartment. But if you want it for real, you will be able to actually buy the real version of this table and get it for your real house or your real apartment or dumpster behind the convenience store, whatever. You'll be able to actually buy real products that you see in the game. If you want to go to BeefaloBart's burger joint, if you go down to your local Beefalo burger joint and partake in a Beefalo burger and Beefalo sodas, why not have it inside the game? Since there's going to be a lot of player interactions as you're walking down the street, your character is going to need to eat and drink and sleep and so forth. So, hey, this is a Beefalo burger. I'm going to go in here, order me a hamburger, and okay. The point being that you're going to be able to see what a real restaurant would look like, and if you're using that restaurant inside the game, then you'll be more likely to actually go to that restaurant for real. So you're like, oh, I go to this in the video game all the time, and I get the combo number 17 with whatever. So there will be product placement of material items, stores, restaurants, things of that nature. So things that you can actually purchase in the game, you'll be able to actually purchase in real life if you so choose to. So we'll be looking at sponsors for every aspect of the game. I mean, every aspect of the game. So that'll help to actually provide the funding to create more content. Now, the base of the game will actually be free to play. Why free to play? How do you make money off of free to play? Directly, you don't. Indirectly, if you've got 100,000 players that are wandering around the game buying merchandise inside the game, I want this giant globe in my bedroom. Gotta have it. Advertising and sponsorship will be the key to that. The money will come from the outside companies, the outside sponsors. Excuse me, am I in your way? Thank you. Now, to go on top of that, to further your content of the game, there will be a monthly subscription account available. And what that will entail is the free-to-play player, pardon the expression, is just going to be the base drone. They essentially could be just like this character right here, a base level player with normal resource gathering and basic combat mechanics. But if you want to get more advanced into the combat or into the building or whatever is entailed in the game, then you can pay for a monthly subscription. We'll say, as an example, $10 per month. And for that $10 a month, you get access to a larger apartment. You get access to more combat-based arenas and combat environments or whatever. There'll be enough content for you to actually want to pay that monthly subscription, and you're going to get revenue based on the number of people doing that. Also will be premium content. I feel that cosmetic equipment, if you want to have a pair of pants, then you can purchase advanced cosmetics. I mean, that's just one idea. If you want to change your skin color to purple or other things like that. Premium content would be items that you can purchase that are only available by spending real money. And that I'm still kind of back and forth on, because I will like to cater more towards the commercial advertising versus paid. For example, Beefalo blue jeans. If you're a manufacturer of blue jeans and you want people to see your product, then they can go to the Beefalo department store and buy Beefalo brand blue jeans. If they're buying them in the game and they like them in the game, why shouldn't they be able to have a direct link to go and actually purchase them for real? So they can look just like their character, or their character can look just like them. If they already use your product, then all right, cool. They can actually buy that product in the game. And if we stick to the commercial and advertising and product placement idea, then we can keep the game as much free to play as possible with less need for premium content. There will be so much to do inside the game, from going out here with a pickaxe and mining a iron node, we'll say, or fishing or hunting, or gathering scrap materials or whatever. There will be enough of that base level content for crafting new materials, new weapons, new armor, we'll say, or whatever, on top of the fact that you're going to have lots of weapon ideas, lots of combat ideas, a lot of combat arenas, player versus player, player versus environment. There'll be a lot of things that a player can do, even if they just want to sit around and socialize and hang out at a nightclub, or go to a movie, or if they don't want to engage in combat, they can go to a casino, they can go to a restaurant, they can go to social environments. One particular game product, which I do own, I did buy, is Tower Unite. The basic concept, to me, is not fully fulfilled. It is a great starting concept and starting platform, but if you take my game ideas and combine them with the fact that you can walk around a social environment. If you come to, this is my house, you come to my house, we can all sit around in different chairs and from my store, and we're sitting around. We can actually have a large screen TV or a projector on the wall, and actually can be broadcasting a YouTube channel. The homeowner can actually have access to entering in URLs to watch movies from YouTube, or who knows, could be Hulu or Netflix or whatever else. But you could actually watch movies inside your apartment, and anybody else that's in your apartment can actually watch those movies. If you go to a movie theater, why not? BeefaloBart's Entertainment presents the life of Beefalo that's out in theaters right now. Well, what if you don't want to go to a theater? What if you're a closet nerd and you like being stuck at home all the time and doing nothing but playing video games? I wouldn't mention any names. Why not? Hello. Why not be in the video game and go to the movie theater down the street, and you go in, you pay your ticket admission, and that could actually be premium content. And then you go into a movie theater and you sit down and you go into a first-person mode or whatever and have good visibility of the screen and actually watch a movie. Go to the movie theater inside a video game and be watching the movie on your computer screen. Primarily the platform is going to be PC. It's going to be a PC game. It's going to be a PC game. Did I mention it's going to be a PC game? But the fact, since some of you can recognize what I'm actually playing around with as a game engine, this is the Unreal 4 engine, and currently right now they have the ability to develop to multiple different platforms, from Android to PC to Mac to PS1 and Xbox One and PlayStation 74 or whatever. They have the console. They built it to port these over to console, but the primary concept and the primary game is actually going to be on PC. Sorry, I'm a PC gamer, so that's where my allegiance lies. So, but at some point we'll have port overs to the different consoles, so we're not excluding those markets. But enough about the overalls on that. What are we going to need? What is my development staff going to need? And primarily the development staff is me. I am taking full creative concept and creative control of the game itself. Any and all content will go through me, but there will be Shark Tanks where we sit, me and other people will sit around, whether it's online or in person. We'll sit around and actually discuss the core concepts and the individual small concepts of the gameplay itself to make sure that it really fully appeals to a wide range of players. So we don't feel like you know, if you want a specific feature, it's not left out, to maximize the overall appeal to the larger, greater audience. So what are we going to need? Thankfully, with right now, I'm currently using Unreal Engine 4. For those that are not familiar with it, let's see if I can do this without screwing up my scene work here. The marketplace has the availability for purchasing items and content for placing into your games. Now, there are some really, really good content creators out there on the market. I mean, really, there are some really, really good people out there doing stuff. Blueprints, characters, just example characters can just actually purchase from the store. Piggy here, by this author. He or she has spent a lot of time creating this content for other people to use. However, that's not what I'm actually talking about. I'm not going to actually go right here to the marketplace and specifically buy. I'm not going to butcher that name, but I'm not going to specifically buy his worker robot. You know, it's not what I'm looking to do. But the cool thing about this is animations. And I'm just going to look at this right here is, I mean, this person right here, Black Phoenix, an animation pack. The thing about the characters within Unreal Engine 4 is skeletal animations. Rigging to the epic base skeleton, that's great. Number of animations, 16. Animation types in place. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff right there. But essentially what it is, and I guess a good way to show it, is actually going to, if you look at a character, they're made up of individual, this is all the movement stuff right here. But if you look at the way they're done, they use a skeletal animation or a skeletal bone structure, which would be like the shoulder joint, the elbow joint, the wrist joint, the finger joints, the waist, you know, all the different movements. So if you actually watch, this is just an idle animation. You can see these rocking back and forth. It gives it a lifelike style movement. Now, if I move, these are all different animations. So essentially, if I create all the animations for this character right here, then if I create a female character, instinctively you can actually use the same skeletal structure and then create individual animations to make the movement a little bit more feminine. Add movement to the body in a more realistic feminine manner. So essentially you have one skeleton, but you have multiple animations for this particular skeleton, whether it's jumping or it's crouching or it's firing a gun or using melee attack or handing somebody something or whatever. All the animations can be done on this one character. And if we decide we want to bring in a gnome, a much shorter version of the player, and it can use the same animation bank, hello, as this character right here. It's all shareable. So what we would need is and I just ramble on, don't I? We're going to need somebody who is good with bones and with animations. Going to need a 3D model of a standard male and a standard female, and I want these to look as realistic and human-like as possible. And we'll also need, since we're looking at essentially an android or a robot right here, the same basic concept for another project of what we see here as actual robot. No, I cannot use this one right here because it, you know, I can't sell a product that has somebody else's content, and I want my own specific robot. I've already got a conceptual idea of how I want them to look. They look very similar to this right here. But for now, I want a human male and a human female, full complete models, and then I need somebody that can do the animations that are needed for the male and the female to keep them to where they have their own nuances, and going to need the texturing so that not only do you have white man, you can have different skin tones of realistic real world skin tones. I want to keep it as human-like as possible. I don't want to be racially biased. If you have a player that's a white female that wants to play a white female, then they need to look like a white female. They can adjust their skin tone to be lighter or darker, whether they have a lighter or darker complexion. If you're African American male, then yes, you need to have not just the skin tone, but the facial features to match, as well as hairstyles between the different racial aspects of different real world people. I don't want to exclude anybody. I don't want to exclude any race or nationality. I don't want to exclude any skin tone. I don't want to exclude male or female. Or I want the models to be able to also be scaled for height and all realistic dimensions. I don't want a game filled with characters who have gigantic heads but really tiny arms and legs. I don't want that garbage. Hello, you mind? I want realistic real world characters. You guys gotta quit running into me. I don't want to look at my own crotch. So that one aspect is I want realistic humanoid characters or human characters. So that's what I need. 3D model of a male and a female human that's scalable skin tone, scalable or changeable hairstyles, and facial features. I'm also going to need a map. Essentially, the map needs to be a globe, and the globe needs to be, the planet needs to be filled with a series of islands, and those series of islands need to be filled with buildings. The other details of the island size, the building size, and so forth need urban environments, suburban environments, and going to need forested areas and real world environments to look as natural and normal as possible. But to begin with, primary, we need a full, somewhat urban environment. Houses, stores, shopping areas, things like that. Transportation is not going to be a big thing. The primary mode of transportation is going to be for players to be walking around normally. I will need eventually a public transportation system, a trolley car system, maybe a train system, things like that. No aircraft, and maybe a few watercraft, but very limited on watercraft, and that will be covered later on. But primarily an urban environment with, don't think full city, think outside the city, an urban sprawl, so to speak. So that's the environment we're looking for. So we're going to need people who can create models for homes, for, different terrain ideas, terrain features. So if anybody has the desire to want to join, those are the basic needs. Now, when it comes to what do you get out of it if you want to join the development team? Okay. Currently, right now, there is no budget. Budget is 0. You can't get paid if there is no budget. So what am I saying? I am saying that you would be creating things right now for free. However, a development structure will be set up for a method of payment as payment becomes available. If your specific job is skeletal animation, to take that set of bones and animate the male and the female character, and you create, this is just purely as an example, you create one animation, you get paid $20. And these are just made up numbers, okay? If you create 5, then that's $100. Now, you will not be able to get paid until we actually have some revenue come in. So essentially, you're being employed on a promissory basis, and also you will be working as a subcontractor. So there are a series of forms you would have to fill out, like a W-9 you would have to fill out, and this is, I only want U.S. citizen employment only, and that is for logistical reasons. So you have to be a U.S. citizen, you have to be eligible to work, and you're going to need to fill out everything from a W-9 to filling out license agreements, non-disclosure agreements, partnership agreements, things of that nature. There's probably going to be a half dozen or more forms you're going to have to fill out. And to cover part of what that is, like I said, at first you will not get paid, but you will get paid based on work performed. There will be some occupational portions of the company as presented that will generate larger amounts of revenue, but you will get paid based on what you're actually contributing to the project. You're subcontracting out to do animations or terrain or whatever, and you get paid per module of completion, but you won't get paid until naturally there is income into the company. There is a guarantee of payment. There will be discussion of that, and then we'll move past that into the types of license agreements. I've tried to keep as vague as possible on the information given out about the project. But you would have to sign a interview non-disclosure agreement, meaning that once you're interviewed for a position to create whatever content for the project, a full non-disclosure, meaning you cannot share your work with anybody else, you cannot post imagery, you cannot show it, talk about it, whatever. Anything discussed in the interview is actually classified information and cannot be divulged to anybody. And doing so would open you up, and this is also why U.S. Only, is you would be subject to prosecution if you were to go through an interview and like, oh well, they're going to have this cool feature, and then you broadcast it on YouTube. You can expect that we're going to find out, and you will suffer the consequences. I mean, it's just, this is a business, and we're going to try to make the people who build the game good money. So to do that, we have to keep things classified, and this is not trying to be mean or threatening or whatever else. It's just we're trying to safeguard any potential income that we get from it. And if I share too much about the game, then you run off and build the same game and are competing with me and taking money from my project before it's even happened, then yeah, it's a big thing. Now, again, with the non-disclosure and with the exclusionary information, if you're tasked to build, for example, the 3D model of this character that's right here on my screen, then you would not be able to share any portion of that naturally with anybody else. Not show any imagery of it, not share any imagery of it, not share any part of it whatsoever. You can't share the bone structure, you can't share the skin. Everything that's created for this project is owned by this company, in a sense. This is all standard stuff, and I don't want to sit here and say all these things to scare anybody off, but these are common things you're going to find around the game development industry, just to protect the actual company itself. So they all sound so negative and they sound so horrible, so I don't want to get too much involved in it, but just know that if you decide you want to join the development staff, then you will be joining with payment on the completion of a project, and you'll be paid for what you do, but payment is going to be pending based on the revenue coming into the company. And this is going to be why we're going to be looking for heavy sponsorship and product placement and so forth, like I discussed earlier. If a sponsor comes in and says, okay, I'm going to give you $10,000 towards your development, but here's what we want, then yeah, we're going to build the content to match what they want. And that $10,000, if you've already created something and it is a completed product based on the specifications for, okay, I want this animation to do this. Whenever I jump, I want a jump animation. If you're getting paid, example again, $20 for that jump animation, then if you've already completed it, then you're going to get submitted payment right then on the spot. As soon as the money comes in, it'll be diverted towards the developmental staff first. I don't care about my money and my situation. If you guys aren't getting paid for creating the content for the game, then the game's just not going to happen. So I'm not going to make anything out of this until it is actually profitable. Profit to me, as the owner and developer and conceptual leader of the entire project, I can't make a dime off of this project until all of my staff get paid. All of the work gets paid for. The content is what makes the game, and without the content, who's going to create things for free? Okay, an internship, okay, whatever, but you want to get paid for your work. I want to have a product that I can put on online and for people to play. So it's a matter of, I won't make a dime until everybody else has been paid. That's just like common sense. Now, to wrap this up, if you wish to jump on board sponsorship wise, again, being that this is going to be a huge social environment, we're going to need and be able to use everything from restaurants, furniture stores, furniture itself. Even if you want to have your staff or your personnel create the 3D models, the textures, and everything else, so that you make sure that it's to your liking, as long as it fits properly into the Unreal Engine 4, then okay, you can submit your ideas for your restaurant or your store or your product to be added to the game, and an agreement will be made as to the amount of placement and so forth, and all the details will be hammered out on that. But we'll be looking for restaurants, individual items like furniture, appliances, firearms, clothing, day-to-day items, paintings, pictures, whatever. All the merchandise you would have at your normal store, or that a normal person would use for daily, everyday life, and then for fictional everyday life, like your guns and ammunition and scopes and so forth. But all of that needs to be represented in the game. And if you would like your product line placed in the game, then you need to contact me and we can get started on what we need to do from there. As for the actual game building staff, gonna need AI programmers, gonna need modelers, animators, texturing, mapping, the whole usual gambit of gaming. I'm primarily not going to be doing any of the hands-on building of the game. I would like to outsource everything based on the Unreal Engine 4 to create the overall game. So if you can contribute to that, great. If you want to be a sponsor of a product and product placement, or even just an advertiser for a billboard or a sign, or background sponsorship, like, yeah, I need coffee. This is the only thing that's keeping me going on this project, and other things too. But please get with me. You can post a comment, or you can leave an email for you to contact me directly, or contact me through YouTube, and we can go from there. But I would like to get moving on this project as quickly as possible, but I want it to be done correctly. would also like the shortest possible development time before getting a playable version of the game out to the market, whether it's being put on Steam, Uplay, or one of the other launching methods like that, so that it gets a larger audience of potential players to try to get the highest potential player base possible. And if it goes on Steam and it goes on as free to play, you can potentially expect to see between 5 to 20,000 players within the first week. Especially if you start getting a lot of YouTubers interested in doing videos based on the game, then yeah, the population of the game is going to increase exponentially. And as long as players have a reason to keep coming back, then yeah, this is going to be a good venture for a lot of people. So I'll close out the video, and I will go ahead and update everything and put a contact email address into the description of the video so that you can contact me and we can get started on this project. Thanks for trying to stay awake, and like I said, please post any comments or questions if you have any questions that way, or you can actually email me and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.